to the KingsTablePodcast, where we take a variety of social injustices and topics and discuss them as kings and queens. Now, today we're going to talk about CHAZ, and we're going to go through a series of videos I have selected. And hopefully, you guys leave me your perspective down in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and be sure to share. Now, the first video I have here, first thing I'm going to do here is let everyone know what CHAZ is. CHAZ is basically an occupied protest zone in Seattle where Capitol Hill has, so to speak, no authority. Seattle will move to dismantle CHAZ occupied protest zone, mayor says. And you see, they got a few blocks that they say is blocked off, 4 to 6 blocks, where there's been a couple of shootings, and we have this guy who's talking about, let's hear what he has to say, but he's basically giving his testimony of living there from the CHAZ area. So here we go.
American citizens in a 6-block long, densely populated area. And he says, after I put this on air, he has to delete his Facebook because of Antifa or any of them. And they're going house to house now, kicking in doors and harassing people. He says, after I make this statement to tell the world what is going on in the concentration camp that is now set up on American soil by Antifa and Black Lives Matter, he said he has to delete his Facebook and get it out and actually destroy his phone, because if they find out that he's in contact with people outside, they kill him or beat him up. Now, he has witnessed, he said Antifa, these sissy liberals, cross-dressing sissy liberals with Black Lives Matter, thugs by their side, are going door to door, kicking the door in. They're not knocking, they're kicking the door in while people are in their homes. They're telling people to pay them reparations, to give them money. They're looting their houses while the people watch and the kids scream, and there's nothing they can do. Today alone, 4,000 calls to the police department came, and the police can't do nothing about it because the liberal mayor won't let them. Meanwhile, men and women and children are being sodomized and raped by these liberal sissies. This is all very real, and it's going on today in an American city that has been overtaken by terrorists. My friend, today, we cannot wait for the government to act. We cannot wait for the federal government to act. We must stop this. This is good, and if they can get by with it one city, they're going to do it again. My friend said that he witnessed looking out his apartment. He has a small apartment. He looks down, and he sees rows of men. Some are dressed as women, queens, with Black Lives Matter, black men, coming up to people's houses. And if you resist, and they'll beat the crap out of you.
Now, whether this is true or not, that's up for you to debate. But I mean, it's known that there is, something going on here. And from his testimony, he's telling us the perspective of his friend. So it's a lot of hearsay in that. So I'm gonna just go to the next video where we hear the founder of Black Lives Matter admit that she's a trained Marxist.
That it might, I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories, and I think that what we really try to do is build a movement that could be utilized by many, many Black folk.
Now, shout out to the brother Young Pharaoh for bringing this to my knowledge. I give respect when it's due, and if for the people who don't know what a Marxist is, a Marxist is a person who believes in this theory called Marxism. And Marxism posits that the struggle between social classes, specifically between the bourgeois and the capitalists, and the proletariat or workers, defines economic relations in a capitalist economy, and inevitably will lead to a revolutionary communism. Communism. So, what is communism? Communism is exactly what's going on in China. A political theory derived from Karl Marx, this guy right here, advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property and publicly owned is which all property is publicly owned, and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and need. Communism over here, the political ideology. Communism is a philosophical, social, and political economic ideology and movement whose ultimate goal is the establishment of a communist society, namely a socioeconomic ordered structure upon the ideas of common ownership of the means of production and absence of social classes, money, and state. Basically, meaning that all income will come from the state. There will be no private businesses. There will be no private land. Everything will be ran by the state and the government. Now, with today's events, we know that our government has been infiltrated. So the whole democracy and way of living that we're used to needs to change. And my theory that I also support, which once again the brother Young Pharaoh pointed out to me, is meritocracy, which sounds fair. It would make the means of living in America as a black man a little bit more adequate, because it's basically you literally have to earn everything you see. The government or holding of power by people selected on the basis of their ability. So you can't have a dumb nut, no disrespect to our president, but you can't have a dumb nut being president if he never had any classes or such in political science or whatever, you know. So that limits the ability of corruption to a degree. And that's just something for us to look into. Now I'm going to get into the next video here, which is another article claiming that hip hop artist Raz Simone, who I've personally never heard of, that he's the warlord of this whole chop zone or CHAZ, what you would call it. And, you know, it's all hearsay. But at the same time, you got people that at the same time that's claiming it's only hearsay because it's being manipulated to be hearsay. And my thing with Black Lives Matter, as I stated in the video before, is that I don't believe Black Lives Matter is for us. And here, let me show you alleged video, let me say that for YouTube purposes, alleged video of Raz Simone handing out artillery to somebody who down there killed the whole block. Check this out. Now that's Raz Simone right here with all the armor and everything.
We just got got told there's another group they're meeting with there, and then they'll be moving in a few minutes, so be ready.
Now let's take time to read this. The age requirement for an individual in legal possession of a firearm is 18 years. Minors under the age of 18 may be in legal possession of a firearm if they can provide a valid hunter's license or hunter's safety certificate. Okay.
Somebody over there is 18 already use a gun?
See how it's being manipulated? See how they put the corona right here in front of the screen? You know, I ain't even gonna get into that. But here we go. Let's keep the video. I'm gonna take it on the rabbit hole. See, look, this nigga don't even know what he doing. He trying to grab the gun with a camera in his hand. But is he 18? Who knows? Right.
Take the clip out and put it back in.
No one's gonna like fucking ask me walking in here.
Fumbles the gun. Look.
Hell nah, bruh.
Keep the bell down.
Hey, keep that down.
You don't know what he doing.
Hey, if they arrest me, you got my bond? I got you. Hey, I got you, just don't say any names.
Nigga, we know who you is, nigga. So why you advocating this type shit that's gonna eventually get us killed?
Make sure you get to the rear wheel of the car. Get where the tires at.
Yeah.
Sometimes you center, but that's
Niggas
not
don't know what they doing. They ain't organized
Engine
like
blocking tires.
this. This ain't the way you do it.
This is true. It might be misinformation. It might be lies. That's what I pointed out earlier. So we're just being ready. We're not doing anything illegal.
They want to know why the gun's snipe.
Just the energy that's out right now.
Man, it's gonna piss me off. Alright, I ain't gonna be on here too long. I'm gonna get into the next video, and then I got a couple more articles I'm gonna read. Yeah, this is basically about Rasimone alleged have established himself as a warlord in CHAZ. The rapper, 30 years old, seen patrolling the area with a crew of armed men, which I basically just showed you, so it's not really alleged. Video showed him confronting a man tagging over someone else's graffiti. He earlier called the long-term occupation of the area, tweeting, "Come out now and hold it down." Now, this video is a man who's he lives in Seattle, and most of these people that's occupying this zone are not from Seattle, and that's why you have the natives who's, you know, live there being pissed off and aggravated and starting to do shit like this because they want them to go back home, you know. Right. If somebody ain't gonna do it, we need brothers like that that's gonna do it. It ain't gonna get us nowhere destroying our own streets, destroying our own cities. That's not what we need. See, now that's just gonna put a target on our back if we go to build something, you know? And we know we can't protect anything, because what's happened before? What's happened before when we built anything? What's happened in Tulsa? What happened with the MOVE Act? They just destroyed it. So we have to come to a point to where we're sustainable on our own. Eventually, my life, though, I'm gonna get that handled. If with no help, if it take my lifetime, that's my goal. And here we go. This is live feed from look like a CCP camera in Seattle of the entrance of the block, and you see Black Lives Matter here with the rainbow flag. If you watch my previous video, you know my problem with that. So, you know, I just wanted to bring this whole situation to my followers and my family and friends' attention and let them know what's going on in Seattle and that hey, shit about to hit the fan. So get the player right, because if you know me, I called this years ago, and this is the King's Table Podcast, reminding you knowledge is key to the universe. Remember, think with greatness.